So millions of veterans and active duty service members can qualify to buy a home with no down payment and no monthly mortgage insurance, but many don't even use it. So my goal with this video is to fix that. And I'm not only going to be going over the most common VA home loan questions, but I'm also going to touch on common marketing scams that lenders use that you need to be aware of. I'm going to go over eligibility, closing cost, and also the overall process of how to apply so that you can use this VA home loan tool as a benefit. Now let's get into it. So here are some common myths that can cost you from working with the right lender. So myth number one is going to be the VA is the one lending the money and is running the entire loan process. And that is not true. The VA doesn't look at your credit. They don't look at any of your documents, and you will not be applying directly with the VA. With the VA home loan, they're not open directly to the public, and the whole VA itself is only there to insure the loan, and the banks are the ones that's going to be lending you the money to buy the house. They're going to be the ones looking at your credit. They're going to be the ones approving your loan. Now, myth number two is the VA assigned me to this lender. If you hear that, that is a red flag, and that is a marketing scam that lender is using for you, because again, the VA doesn't choose the lender that you work with. You're the one that chooses. You can work with anyone that's a VA approved lender, because again, it's not like the other benefits where you go directly to the VA. With the home loan, you're going with an actual mortgage lender, mortgage broker, or a bank that's approved, and you're going to be working directly with them and not directly with the VA. And here's several marketing traps that you need to be aware of before you even start finding the right lender. So there's several companies out there that they're going to position themselves. A lot of times they use military branding, like words, veteran in their name, flags, military wording, to make you think that's your only option when you want to get a VA home loan. And the truth is, just because they have that in their name does not mean that they're really skilled and they're really expertise in this type of loan. I've had several clients that have got denied by one of these big named VA home loan companies, and then they come to me, I'm able to get it done. And the whole reason why they're doing this is it's designed to gain your trust up front. And it's really, I believe it's really predatory tactics, and also branding can appear more credible than what they really are. So it's something that you want to make sure you're aware of. And the reason why this bothers me is because you are not limited. You can choose whoever you want as long as that lender is actually VA approved. So just know you are not limited to those that only have VA in their company name. And it's important to understand the difference between VA fees versus lender fees, because the VA only sets one fee, and it's the funding fee. And that funding fee, if you do have it, it's a set percentage, and you can find out if you're exempt or not, or how much it's going to cost you. It gets added to the loan amount on your certificate of eligibility. Now, other fees, lender fees like interest rate and any other fees, again, it's not set by the VA. It's set by the actual lenders. So if you hear a lender saying, well, all VA fees and rates are the same, that is not true. It's going to vary based on the actual lender. And here's the difference between a mortgage lender, broker, and a bank. So a mortgage lender works for one company. And because of that, you're going to get stuck with whatever rate, fees, and programs that they're offering. And if you get denied, then you're going to have to start all over someplace else, get your credit report pulled again, do an application over. Now, these are going to be some of your big named companies like Rocket Mortgage, Veterans United, places like that. And I used to work for a lender, so I know how it works. Then two, a mortgage broker, and this is what I switched to, is not tied to one single bank. So they're able to shop the rate for you with either one credit pull and one application. And because of this, they have access to a lot of different programs and options. And if one bank denies you, then they can easily switch you with the same credit pull with the same application to a different bank without you even having to do anything. And then number three is going to be a bank. And a bank offers different financial services. They're not just offering mortgages. And because of this, because mortgages are not their bread and butter, they often have a lot of stricter guidelines. And again, if you get denied, you're going to have to start over with someone else. Then you'll need to get access to your certificate of eligibility. And the whole purpose of this certificate is it shows if you are eligible for using your VA home loan benefits. And how you'll want to pull it is Actually, the lender can pull it for you, and the documents that they'll need is either going to be the DD-214 or a statement of service, and they can access it in the VA portal and tell you how much you have for your benefits. And when it comes to credit score, the VA technically doesn't have a minimum credit score that they allow, however, but the banks do, and really that minimum score is going to be a 620. Now, sometimes you can go lower, but again, you're going to get killed on the rate and the fees, so really that next benchmark is going to be a 620. Now, a lot of times, these bigger banks are going to be stricter when it comes to credit score because they have tighter guidelines. But overall, you really want your credit score above a 660. That's going to get you a lot better rate, and overall, it's going to give you a lot easier approval with the underwriter as well. And here's some of the documents that's needed for your pre-approval. So when it comes to income docs, if you're receiving disability income, we can see it on your certificate of eligibility. That does show the amount. Or if you have a disability award letter, that will work as well. Then if you have a pension, either a award letter or a 1099-R, that shows the year's pension amount. If you are active duty, then they'll want to see your last two most recent LESs and your W-2s for the last 2 years. And if you have a civilian job, then they're going to want your last 2 pay stubs and also your W-2s as well. And when it comes to savings, they're going to want to see your last 2 months of bank statements. Now, although VA home loan doesn't have a down payment that's required, there are closing costs that are required with this loan. When it comes to closing costs, again, the VA doesn't cover the closing costs, they're only covering the down payment. And so closing cost is a range. It can be anywhere from 2 to 4% of the purchase price of the home. And here's what's included with closing costs. You're gonna have title fees, you're gonna have lender fees, you'll have different state and government state tax, and you're gonna also, a big portion of it is starting up what's called your escrow account, and that's pretty much paying a portion of your property taxes and paying your homeowner's insurance for the full year in advance. And a good strategy that several clients I've used with a VA loan that's found me on YouTube is to ask the seller to cover your closing costs. This is a negotiation tactic that your realtor will have to use up front. The seller can either cover all of the closing costs or a portion of it. Again, it's negotiated. And in this market, we are turning into a buyer's market. Pretty much all of my clients are getting their closing costs covered using this strategy. And here are the overall steps to apply. So number one, you want to find a lender, broker, or bank, and you want to have a conversation with them. See if you like them, see if you trust them. A big red flag, if you're only able to speak with the assistant and not the actual person up front, that's not a good sign. You want to make sure you're comfortable with the actual person. And if you can't get a hold of them, what do you think is going to happen once you're under contract? Then number two is then you want to get pre-approved, and most likely you'll end up filling out a pre-approval form. You'll send in your documents. Normally the pre-approval process, once you filled out everything, with me it takes anywhere from about 24, maybe up to 48 hours, just depending. And then from there, you'll have a pre-approval consult. So they're going to go over the exact pre-approval amount, how much is your buying power. Then they'll also go over estimated monthly payment so that you can make sure you're buying within your budget. Then you're going to go over any cash to close for the closing costs or any amount that you need to bring to the closing table and come up with a strategy as well. And at the end of it, you're going to receive an actual pre-approval letter, and that's what you'll want to give to the actual realtor so that they can start home shopping. And if you're planning to buy a house and want to know exactly how much your buying power is with your VA home loan, click on the link in the description, schedule a call, and I'll be in touch.